بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد Assalamu'alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. All listeners, I hope you've had an enjoyable weekend and a peaceful weekend. Um, Alhamdulillah, today we have with us Dr. Yusuf, who's come in for a second time. Inshallah, he'll be discussing a few of the issues that we need to be conscious of, etc. We would have heard from our Prime Minister last night, and there would have been certain things she would have outlined for us. Again, we were being told stay off the roads, only go out if there's a necessity, and we need to abide by that. And the social distancing, etc. We need to really be considerate and put that into practice. So I'll call Dr. Yusuf, inshallah. He'll discuss with us. If you have any questions, you can post both on Facebook and on the live chat here.
Assalamu'alaikum. Assalamu'alaikum. Assalamu'alaikum to all users. Glad to be here again. um, first of all, when I was here last, which was about 2.5 weeks ago, that was about the time we implemented the lockdown. The governor of Barbados implemented the lockdown. And we've had, unfortunately, 4 casualties, but alhamdulillah, it appears that the numbers appear to be decreasing, which means that the measures that they're implementing, alhamdulillah, seem to be working. And then we're going to entertain some questions. It's a hot topic right now. Should we wear them? Should we not wear them? Are they helpful? Are they not helpful? Um, there are two different schools of thought. We're gonna go with WHO versus the CDC. The CDC, they have advised that we wear face masks. They're based on a study done in Korea, where it was shown that by wearing face masks, when I'm talking about face masks, I'm referring to the surgical mask. This mask, it shows that it had decreased the chances of transmission by 33%. So the governor of Barbados, they're advocating it, and also the CDC. However, the WHO appear to be taking a different spin on it, and they will have their own reasons for that. They're saying that these masks should be only used by medical personnel. Um, I guess they're looking at it more from an economic point of view. These masks are single use. They're not supposed to be used repeatedly. They're used once and thrown away. If everyone in Barbados wears a face mask, you're looking at about 150 face masks in the dump every single day. Obviously, the supply to demand is not going to be possible for companies or factories to meet out the demand for the whole world. I guess that's the reason why they're saying it's not really all that practical. There's also a theory behind it as well. Let's compare the three different types of masks. If we talk about a cloth, we talk about the surgical mask, and we talk about the classical N95, which I'll explain about a little bit later. If you talk about a cloth, a niqab, for example, a normal cloth, a shirt that you put over your face, um, theoretically, it's not going to filter or not going to prevent you from inhaling the virus if you walk into a space where the virus is located. Um, what? But it will decrease it. When one inhales, when you are in a space where the virus is located, um, if you picture a mesh or if you picture a lattice, and someone is throwing, say, a marble at you, yes, some of the marbles may be caught on the lattice, but majority of them, because of the size of the marbles and because of the size of the mesh, some of them will make its way through. So a cloth, if you can blow through it, chances are it's not going to be able to stop a virus from passing through. But nonetheless, it is better than nothing. Face masks must be worn correctly. Um, Number one, when applying the face mask, your hands must be clean. You must only touch the ear loops of the face mask, and you must apply it over your ear. If, however, the face mask is is dropping, is falling. You have to adjust it repeatedly. Obviously, with your hands, you are going to contaminate the face mask, and you may actually be doing more harm. Also, the face masks are marketed to the extent where they say that if you're hot and you're sweaty, and there's moisture in the face mask, the effectiveness will also decrease. So we spoke about the cloth. We spoke about the surgical mask, and we're gonna come to the N95. The N95 is, as it says, the 95 means that it filters about 95% of particles that are measuring size particle. Just to let you know, I'll give you a gauge. 3 microns. The virus is about 1 micron, and a hair follicle is about roughly about 18 microns in size. So if you, as you can imagine, it's not going to filter the virus, but it will decrease the chances of it. Okay, N95, very good mask, and but it has to be worn. It has to be fitted. So one size does not fit all. Um, Someone with a beard, it's not going to be very effective in them. It's not going to be at 95% if you want to put it that way. It has to provide a tight seal around this part of your face. All right. Um, once once it's done, as you can imagine, it becomes very tight on your face and also very uncomfortable. So someone who's not used to wearing masks, the N95 is not very practical. The N95 is used more in a hospital setting, in a doctor's office, if you want to put it out, if you want to go to that extent. Um, but it is very effective, but it's also very cumbersome to wear. It's also more expensive right now. It's very expensive right now compared to the surgical masks. However, surgical masks are not quite available right now. So basically, just wear for right now. Cloth can work, but just be very much aware of wearing a cloth, because if you're constantly adjusting it and if you're sweating in the cloth, you may actually be doing more harm. Um, right. So again, we spoke about prevention repeatedly. So we talked about face masks. We spoke about hand washing and social distancing. And again, this seem to be working. Um, let's come to the point now. If someone has, I'll just address a quick point here. Yeah, if someone is suspected of having COVID-19, let's just go back over the symptoms. I'm sure everyone knows about the symptoms of COVID-19. I'll just go back over them quickly. Fever, body pains, you're feeling tired, runny nose, cough, cold, loss of smell, loss of taste, just to name a few of the symptoms. Joint pain may also go with that as well. If one suspects that they have the symptoms, or they have the symptoms and they suspect they may have the virus, they're advised to call the hotline. So you call the hotline, and the hotline will say, "Yeah, did you have a recent travel history? Did you come in contact with someone who may have had the virus?" And if they suspect that you are high risk for having the virus, then the next step is to get tested. If you are tested, testing is done at Paragon. Okay, it's an appointment basis. They'll call you in. If you are tested for the virus and the test comes back negative, then alhamdulillah, you do not have the virus. You can just be treated as your symptoms, just be treated as the viral illness, and inshallah, you'll get better. If, however, the test comes back positive, then there are two possible scenarios. You're positive and well, or you're positive and unwell. If you're positive and well, you will be placed into one of the quarantine centers. If you're positive and unwell, depending on how unwell you are, let's say that you have difficulty breathing, etc., you are going to be managed at a location, not the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is trying its best to prevent managing COVID positive patients at the institution. Yeah, you will be managed at Enmore, which is just a building adjacent to the hospital. So if you do have it, then you can either be well or unwell. You'll be quarantined. If you're unwell, you'll be managed at Enmore. If you are well, you'll be managed you'll be quarantined for about 2 weeks, or until you have two negative test results. The test is done by a nasopharyngeal swab. That is basically by putting a long Q-tip into your nose, and getting some enough mucus that you can actually test it and see if the virus is there. So it's very uncomfortable, and once, but however, to see if you have recovered from the virus, once you're okay, then you're placed out of quarantine, and you're allowed to go back home. It's not that you're 100% normal at that stage. It's not that you're 100% normal at that stage. There's still a possibility of theoretical risk of something called viral shedding, which can occur for up to 3 weeks. In which case you may still you will have no symptoms, but you can still pass the disease on to someone else. Just one last point before I answer any questions, inshallah. Individuals, when it comes to having the COVID-19 virus, I think in our community, I think there's a stigma associated with it. And I think it's best that we try to stay away from that. It is a virus. It's like the flu virus. It's obviously much more severe than the flu virus. But I think we're too long this time. Just open the floor if you have any questions. If you have any questions, so take it from there.
We covered mass, right?
Yeah.
So what? And you just answered if we suspect we have COVID, what to do?
Right. If you have suspect COVID, what we have to do?
Call the hotline, right?
Right. Call the hotline and then take it from there, inshallah.
What about what about you see how okay the masjids now?
Right.
We're
No.
saying that people going to supermarkets are being open.
Right.
Can we just is it life as normal? What is it now?
Right. So for right now, once we have to balance the health of the nation with the economic backlash that we are going to get from this from the measures that we are currently implementing. Obviously, everyone knows about economic backlash. However, in terms of what is the our know that I opened my talk tonight by saying that Alhamdulillah we're doing well, but it does not mean that we can go back into society and act like normal. It's very important that we continue to maintain or do all the things we were doing before, the social distancing, etc. If we do not do it, this virus is going to come in waves. We got our first wave, and Alhamdulillah, it seemed to have leveled out. That's just my opinion, right? It seems to have leveled out. This virus is going to come in perhaps another wave, 2, 3, or 4 waves. These waves may come every 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. I believe it may last. This may last up to a year, where we're gonna open back up our doors and we're gonna realize, oh, some more cases are coming in. Let's shut back down again. This is possibly going to happen repeatedly for about a year. I'm not. That's not based on any study. That's just me thinking out loud. All right. So right now we have Ramadan coming up. So we have say 200, 300 people in about 400, 500. Let's call it 600 square feet. The chance of the virus spreading is very high, and therefore it is it is it is advised that praying in a small area will increase the chance of transmission of the virus, and therefore it is not advised.
So even like sometimes some people think that when we go to the supermarket now it means every day.
Yeah.
According to the alphabetical order you've been given, names you've been given.
Right.
So on that too, should we just try to just go do our shopping for 2 weeks and come back without risking or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all have to eat. So we have to go and we have to go to the supermarket. However, if you realize the government is trying their best to minimize the amount of contact of individuals even at the supermarket. Okay, so that's considered a necessity. So I think when we do go to the supermarket, we should continue to implement. We should wear our masks. We should do hand washing. We must make sure that we when we buy our produce, we clean them properly. And once and then we continue to maintain our social distance when we go to these locations. And inshallah, it's not going to be like this, as I said, all the time. I think what I suspect may happen is maybe on May the 3rd, it may get a little bit, lockdown maybe maybe a little bit more released. But as I said, it is going to, I suspect we're going to get another wave. Globalization. We don't live in
Now, as we develop,
um, so
post COVID, if you want to call it that, even though I
yeah,
guess it's too early to answer
right.
that question.
So life post on the whole will change. For right now, I should stay away from this, but the economic impact is going to be huge. Right now, just basically, um, the government, I think the Prime Minister said 13,000 unemployment benefit checks have to be written for the month. If you do that for 2 or 3 months, and during that time, the NIS are no payments are going to be made. That's going to also put a huge impact on a country that relies heavily on taxes, as well as a huge impact on a country that relies heavily on taxes, as well as tourism. As you can see right now, tourism is down to right now. Try to stay as low as possible. Try to avoid social gatherings. Try to avoid your dawats. Try to avoid as much as you can, your liming, sports, etc. As you can see, it's not only happening here; it's happening all over the world. Major, what will eventually come out of it. But for right now, yes, just to stay low, and inshallah, make dua that this blows over as soon as possible. With little loss of life, with inshallah, we get through it, and we survive it.
Right? There's sometimes
Italy, UK, what's happening in those parts of the world, what's happening in South America, Ecuador, for example. You know, the if you multiply that by 30 days and you say like 250 deaths a month, and 250 deaths a month, and then we look at 2019, 2018, consider statistically significant. However, the next question that usually follows: how do we know this is COVID related? Um, I can tell you that in Barbados who have the virus, who were not tested, who manifest minimal symptoms, did not draw it to medical attention, or are asymptomatic carriers, and so it's not easy for me to right now, or for anyone to right now say, is it going to be a statistical increase in the number compared to the flu? I think it is safe to say that it is a significant impact on the world economy, um, is a significant impact on world health, and everyone has stood up and looked at it. And I don't think in any way can we brush this under the carpet and say this is nothing to worry about. I think it would be silly to actually even consider that right now. But again, I don't know. I'm 40 years old. I've never seen so many international programs and tournaments, etc., that have been cancelled like this.
if you follow the New Zealand model
Mhm.
of just shutting down,
Mhm.
right, and say we stick to these, you got to say 7 cases,
Right.
so we restrict ourselves to 7 cases,
Yeah.
but then well, to say, but then after all this, now we open back up
Right.
borders.
Right.
Was it then
Correct.
problematic again?
Okay. Yeah. So I guess you can use New Zealand, but we can also use Portugal. Portugal is also one of those countries right now in Europe where their number, they're very promising numbers. Um, Number one, we cannot shut our borders. We rely heavily on tourism. So appearance, as where I stated, everyone must get the virus. And fall back to it again. Everyone has to get this virus. Um, as I said, we have to get it over a long period of time. We don't want to overwhelm our healthcare system. So the New Zealand model is fine, but bear in mind that when you do open back up, the virus will not just miraculously disappear. It's going to come back. It's going to represent, and you're going to have to close back down again. So consider so many other factors in making that decision. And as I told you, one major factors to consider is going to be the economic impact of the virus, and loss of life, health, etc. is one, but you have to balance that on economic impact. So it is not easy. We just can't close our shores for 6 months, for a year. We, as I just said earlier, So for right now, I think it's going to be a lot of pushing and but time will tell with regards to what is the best decision. A lot of countries have implemented different types of procedures. Some countries like America said, well, I think they were trying their best to just turn a blind eye to it and basically sit up and look at it. Italy tried. Italy, best healthcare system in the world. They're struggling. UK, struggling as well. So I don't think anyone has the formula. But I guess in another 6 months we're gonna look back and we can do these and we'll say like, you know what, New Zealand model may have been the best. American model may have been the best. We don't know.
Sweden hasn't really gone on lockdown.
Yeah. I think you will have that, but their housing is a little bit more separate. The UK, if you go on one block, all houses are very very close. So if one neighbor has it, next door could probably have it. So I don't know if our environment is not conducive to spread like colder countries. But again, I'm just saying that it's not. It's time will tell. If that's a factor in determining its spread.
Um, having a flu shot, would that raise defense against?
Um, no, case scenario, the virus disappears. So one, the virus disappears, highly unlikely. Two, you get it, herd immunity, or three, a vaccine. Vaccine, tell you a lot of drug companies are trying to devise this vaccine right now. Before a vaccine actually meets the public, it has to be trialed, and it has, so will not prevent you from getting COVID-19.
Um, any idea of the vaccine coming or?
Trials are going to take a long time. So I guess time will tell. I think herd immunity is still debatable.
In terms of Barbados, is it possible that we've had a different strain that compared to other places, or too early to tell?
It is definitely too early to tell. If it's a different strain, uh, we possibly, when we first came out, we heard healthy nurses are getting infected with it. They're actually dying with it. So, is it a different strain? Is it a more virulent strain? Is the virus mutating? Definitely.
Also at home, what's our diet?
Um, I keep getting asked a question about diet. It's based overdosing on vitamin C and overdosing on black seeds and olives or whatever you read on the internet. If you ask me, for my opinion, a balanced diet, eat healthy, sleep well, decrease your stress. Inshallah, immune system will work. There are no studies, and if you, there are no. I will go with the fact that there are no studies that overdosing on vitamin C will prevent you from getting ill. Uh, there's no flu shot. There's nothing that can stop you. But if you want to try to boost your sleep, this is a good time to oversleep. You don't want to oversleep. You want to limit yourself to 6 to 8 hours a night. And you don't want to be or decrease your stress levels. As far as diet is concerned, eating a healthy diet with foods from every one of the food groups are essential. One, do not overeat and do not undereat. A diet that has in fruits and vegetables and less meat and less sugars are always going to be beneficial. I think I'm basically saying the same thing. That once for us, the virus is not going to disappear. So not until we all develop, we all get contact with the virus and we all develop antivirus, are you going to consider, so there are people in Barbados who have had the virus who theoretically should not get the virus again. So basically, you can say a subset of Barbados are to the virus. We want all,
This virus.
yeah,
Will that be harmful then to humans as well? It attacks
yeah.
this virus.
This virus is a zoonotic virus. It's a zoonosis. It means that its natural hosts are animals. So if you looked at where the virus came from, it came from the Chinese wet market. And understand that point, now you understand that this virus, which is also coronavirus called COVID-19, is a new family of that virus who wants to come and stay with us. We have to adapt to him, and eventually we will get there. Eventually, the virus, as I said, once we adapt to it, the virus will not cause a problem anymore. So yes, I think it also does affect lions, tigers, etc. But I don't know how they affect them. But But it is a virus that if it gets into a certain host, it can also be lethal in that host. I remember vaguely, I think if it does cause, it does affect hoofed animals in such a way that it will cause GI, gastrointestinal symptoms. However, I think it affects felines by causing respiratory symptoms. I may be wrong, but I think that's a vertical chain of transmission. And yeah, I think whether it's happening or not, I don't know, but theoretically it can happen. If you are in your 20s, walking around your house is not going to be good enough. As if you are, if you are 50, 60, a little task, and you're creating a bit of a sweat, your natural heart rate will increase and your breathing will also increase, and that's essentially what you need to do. So you don't have to sit down and hold your breath, or just basically simple exercises, walking, do a little bit of running, a little bit of jogging. You don't need space. There are a lot on YouTube. I don't see any reason why we cannot go back to normal. So I take the directives from them. They'll have their reason for doing it. If they are, which I'm giving you, I don't think that's going to happen. But if they do say as simple as that, and but if they do see it, I say we just follow what they have to say. Definitely, yeah. So as I said earlier, when you bring your, just wash them properly.
Okay, Jazakallah to Dr. Yusuf again. Once again, a brilliant accept. May Allah Ta'ala accept the efforts of all the doctors and all those who are on the front line. May Allah reward them greatly. They've been doing a fantastic job. May Allah protect them all as well. May Allah keep protecting all of us here in Barbados and protect all across the Caribbean and across the world and bring an end to this virus as quick as possible. From a spiritual and Islamic perspective, I would make dua that, well, Allah, you bring an end to this virus before even any one of us have to get it. Allah is all powerful. Allah is the most high. Allah is the most great and all power. And inshallah, it can happen. And that's what we need to do now at this moment. I'm just about to come in Ramadan as well. And on this note that, yes, in Ramadan, it seems you're going to be on lockdown, but take it as a chance to enjoy your solitude, and that's also something that's emphasized and encouraged in the Sharia as well. And so you can sit down and relax, and in that way we're not going to sin as well. I want some directives from Allah. I just opened the Quran and I started to read the Quran, and the Quran is telling me how to live my life and what I need to do. So that's Allah speaking to me. And whenever I want to talk to Allah, I just stand up and I pray my salah. I'm speaking to Allah. So with this, we use this as we go into Ramadan and beyond as well. May Allah Ta'ala protect us, and inshallah everything will go well. But let's keep following what we have to do. Is for our own safety, our own betterment. Jazakallah once again for tuning in. Inshallah, either tomorrow or most probably Tuesday, inshallah, another session. And alhamdulillah. Any questions don't start coming up?
Yeah, I don't see any questions. So when I was there, I was looking at it because I saw my daughter, my wife, she put up something, but it says 0 to 200 users. I was looking at this here.
Which one?
This picture here. There's a picture right here.
Right.
So the 0 to 2, so it's like nobody's there. But last
Yeah.
night that was where all the questions were.
That was where all the questions
But
coming.